Hey, this is Torin Talks, and I am continuing with my Game of Thrones video, and this one is going to be about the Faith of the Seven and how they're going to play into this upcoming season, season 5. So the Faith of the Seven is the main religion in Westeros in the south. The north, they worship the old gods, which are the faces that are on the weirwood trees, and that is because most of the descendants of the people of the north came from the first men, and the first men worship the old gods, and so that is why most of the people in the north worship the old gods. The south, which was kind of conquered by the Andals, who came after, when they came over to Westeros, they brought with them the Faith of the Seven. The 7-pointed star is their symbol. It is 7 aspects of one god, and each aspect represents a certain virtue or thing. The father is representative, like, father above, and he represents judgment. So he usually is depicted as like a bearded dude with scales, and usually when people pray to the Father, they pray for judgment. And I believe that in one of the trial by combats, you kind of hear that. During the trial by combat, which also plays into the 7, they say that the 7 comes down during trial by combat, and the just man is the winner. That is the one who the 7 have decided that he is innocent. There is the mother, who represents motherhood and nurturing and things like that. When Bran is pushed out the window and Cersei goes to Catelyn, she says, "I'm going to pray to the mother for your son." So the mother looks over children and nurturing and compassion and those types of things. Warrior represents strength and battle. So people who fight, knights, they usually pray to the warrior, and he represents courage and victory, and he carries a sword. And the smith represents crafts and labor. He is usually prayed to when people need to do work for strength, and he carries a hammer. And the Faith of the Seven believe that the smith gave the horse to man to aid him in all his goings on. The maiden represents like innocence and purity and chastity, and so she is prayed to by like young girls or people who are innocent to protect their virtue and things like that. The Crone is representing wisdom and is usually depicted as an old woman, and she usually carries a lantern, and people pray to her for wisdom and guidance. And there is finally the stranger, and no one rarely ever prays to them. Some outsider people kind of identify with him, but the stranger represents death, and so you can kind of see why people really don't pray to him. The Faith Militant, which is what is going to come into play during season 5, is an arm of the religion that is militarized. And they were causing trouble all the way back at the beginning of the reign of House Targaryen. Right after Aegon died, the Faith Militant were giving his 2 sons grief because they are against incest. And they felt since Aegon had his 2 sister wives that his children were bastards and of incest, and they are not going to be the next kings to the throne. They first rose up against the Targaryens during the reign of Aenys I, who is the son of Aegon the Conqueror and his sister wife Rhaenys. So when Aegon died, this guy came into power, and the Faith Militant were not having it. They were saying like he's incest, and no. He died, and when his successor, his brother, Maegor I, who is Aegon's child with Visenya, he just came in and just started killing all of them. He started offering bounties for the heads of the Faith Militant guys. Like, you see any of these dudes, like, I'll give you some gold if you chop off their head. So if you did, a warrior's son is one of the warriors in the Faith Militant who have weapons and things like that. And then you have the poor fellows. The poor fellows, they wear the little sack and they don't wear shoes and they kind of don't have any possessions. Warrior's son is what Warrior's son is what Lancel Lancel Lannister. I hope I didn't call him Loras in the other video. Crap. Anyway, so Maegor offered bounty. So you get gold if you killed a warrior son. You get silver if you killed a poor fellow. And this, how he got his nickname of Maegor the Cruel. The High Septon even died, and these guys still were not stopping. Like, the Faith Militant was pretty crazy. And so his successor offered them amnesty in exchange for the disbandment of the Faith Militant. The Faith Militant always gives people problems, especially if there is a question of incest or parentage. And so it's kind of funny that they are coming up in season 5 when Tommen Baratheon is on the throne. So I coincidence? Think not. I mean, now that Tywin is dead, all the kitties are being let out of the bags everywhere. And so people are trying, I think people are being way more bold and audacious in the capital, where they wouldn't have done that because they know Tywin just would have killed their whole entire, like, everybody they ever met. So I think since they feel like there's no strong leader, there is like all these little, you know, people running around that they can easily get in there and try to take control away from Cersei and Tommen. Because Tommen, everyone knows that he is not really a leader. He's just a kid. They kind of come out during the War of the Five Kings because there's attacks all over the place and no one's really upholding any values. And there's really, really poor people because of the war and all the lands are destroyed. So it kind of gives rise to people to turn elsewhere or turn to their faith to try to find an answer to all this craziness that's been going on. It's been like 3 years of nothing but war and craziness, and people are just sick of it. And that allows the Faith Militant and the Sparrows to come in and kind of start working their angle. The Faith Militant, in short, is an arm of the Faith of the Seven that is militarized. So they are like priests with guns or something, you know, like, you better follow this way or, you know, we're gonna get you. So they definitely, I guess they're kind of like Knight Templars in a way, where they're, you know, like, they're supposed to be on this holy mission, but they will totally, like, you know, do crazy stuff to get it done. So yeah, that is my video on the Faith Militant and the Faith of the Seven. I didn't really go super into detail because I don't know what they're gonna put into the show and I didn't want to spoiler it. So I just gave a little past history on stuff that I know they're not going to touch on in the show, and just a little bit more about the Seven, because I mean, everyone says 7-7, but they never say anything. Also, the Game of Thrones season 1 or 2 DVD, don't remember which one, has a video on all this stuff too. But this is just a brief little recap. Well, not on the Militant, but just on the Faith 7. So this is just a brief little recap of that. Episode 3 should be coming out this week, so I'm excited for that. And thank you for watching. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and all that good jazz. And I'll see you next time.